for the second time on this Friday evening. A good evening to you, and welcome to the HIX-TV YouTube channel and our second live stream of the evening. We just finished up a short time ago with the 150th anniversary, the Hicksville Sesquicentennial Parade. Hope you had a chance to catch that live stream and enjoy it. If not, you can, you're here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel, just go to the live category, press that, and you'll be able to rewatch it just as it was originally broadcast. And now we're inside the Huber Opera House, located in the front row of the balcony, getting ready to live stream tonight's performance of the recreation of the Hart's Band that's being put on here at the Huber. This is free of charge because of a generous grant received by the Huber from the Ohio Arts Council. Thanks to them. This group reenacts classic performances from years past, and they've done their best to sort of try to reenact the uniforms and get as many of the authentic type of instruments that were played back at the turn of the century. And, of course, they've tried to recreate as close as possible an actual program for a performance that Hart's Band did here at the Huber Opera House in Hicksville back in the 1910s. Zach Kohlmeyer, the band director from Hicksville High School, is going to be a special guest tonight. He actually owns a classic instrument that dates back to the 1910s, early 1920s, and he will be playing that here tonight. So we'll look forward to that as well. And again, still a little bit of time, but we encourage you to come on out if you cannot make it. I hope you enjoy the show. We've been told everything is public domain, so we don't have to worry anything about any copyright issues or whatever. But we are really looking forward to this follow-up to the parade. We had a great time out on the balcony with the parade. Again, I hope you got a chance to join us and enjoy that. And we're looking forward, again, to the Hart's Band performance coming up here. Hart's Band began as a boys' band back at the very turn of the century. When World War I came along, many of the young men had to go serve their country, and so it became the Hart's Girls Band. And then in the early 1920s, when the boys came home, they combined it, and it just became Hart's Band with both boys and girls performing in it. They not only performed here in Hicksville, but they actually toured throughout the country and had their fair share of renown back in the day. So really looking forward to a lot of fun and some great musical entertainment here tonight. I do want to, again, thank a number of people making our live stream coverage possible. Our silver-level underwriting supporters with us for selected programming throughout 2025 include the Hicksville Bank, member FDIC, their main branch located right here in downtown Hicksville, Ohio. Other branches throughout Northwest Ohio, Northeast Indiana. Learn more about the branches, the many banking services they provide for you and your family. Check them out online at www.thb.bank. Thanks also to Bruce Guilford Real Estate and Auctioneering Services, LLC, here in Hicksville, Ohio, also located right in downtown Hicksville, Ohio. If you would like the latest information on the listings that they have, and remember, if it's not listed with Bruce Guilford, they can still show you any listings for any other realtor. And again, the latest auction calendar as well. You can check them out online at guilford-realestate.com. A big thank you to the Hicksville Volunteer Firemen's Association, 501(c), dedicated to helping to support the Hicksville firefighters and allow them to be the best trained and equipped fire station that they can be. We want to thank them so very much. And also the Two Bandits Brewery, located in downtown Hicksville, Ohio. Again, they have special hours for yesterday, today, and tomorrow for the 3 days of the Sesquicentennial. Great daily specials, including their Bite and a Pint, a terrific menu of food, and a terrific selection of craft beers if you're 21 or over. If you'd like to learn more, you can either ask your server when you stop by or check them out online at twobanditsbrewing.com. So, oh my goodness, I got people harassing my cameraman up here in the audience. No, it's okay. You can harass him. It's all right.
Tell us what your password is so I can text somebody that's down there.
Well, I'm not going to let him. I'm not going to let anybody overhear the password that they're asking him to share. But again, we do want to thank you and welcome to the HIX-TV YouTube channel. Again, we just finished up a live stream for the parade downtown. We've got this live concert that's going to be coming up from the Hart's Band reenactors. And this would be a good time, too, to mention, if you enjoy the very many and varied programs that we do here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel, we do all of our Hicksville area sports coverage on the YouTube channel, and again, special events such as this. If you have not already done so and you want to make sure you don't miss out on anything, if you enjoy the programming that we provide, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. And again, it really does help us out with the search engines, the metrics, and so forth. But most of all, you can keep up to date with what's happening. You can watch all of our live streams, again, on video on demand. We have our video on demand library with the edited broadcast versions of the programs as well. And it's just a terrific way to keep up to date with what's happening here at Hicksville Community Television. You can hit the notification bar, and that way whenever we schedule a new live stream event or whenever we post new content to our video on demand library, you're the very first to know. To the many who have subscribed, we say thank you so very much. And if you are not one of them, please consider joining us. We would love to have you as a member of the community of Hicksville Community Television. I knew I should have grabbed something that had like more information on Hart's Boys Band. I was just like, what if they don't start right on time? But that's okay. The parade ran, I think, a little bit longer than anticipated. But hey, Mr. Edgerton, A.P. Edgerton. And, of course, he's making his way throughout Hicksville today and again tomorrow, taking pictures and answering questions and filling you in on his life and times. Of course, the founder of Hicksville, named after Mr. Hicks that owned the land company that A.P. Edgerton was working for when he first came out here to Northwest Ohio. And again, a big tip of the hat, too, to the Hicksville Historical Society with their costuming. And the Huber's been helping out with some of the costumes, too. And the reenactors that are going throughout the community. It's just adding a little extra level and a little more fun to, again, this terrific weekend. I do want to remind everybody, too, that the Field of Faith is hosting the annual Night of Lights. That got underway at 6 o'clock and goes till 10 o'clock this evening. So if you haven't had a chance, if you're not going to be here at the concert, stop by, check out the Night of Lights. They still, I believe, are selling luminarias if you want to put something up in remembrance of a loved one. All of the proceeds that are raised there tonight go to the Helping Hands of Hicksville and to the Defiance County Hospice. So two great organizations, well worthy of your support. And they do such a terrific job out there. Again, so I do want to let everybody know the Fields of Faith is where they're located this year. That's where the Farmers Market is located, and they'll be there until 10 o'clock this evening. And speaking of the Farmers Market, their first Farmers Market of the season is happening tomorrow morning out there by the Fields of Faith, and they've got inflatables for the kids to play with today and tomorrow there as well. And we can hear them warming up. And when they get ready to perform, I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to go to the onboard microphones on the iPad Pro, which should bring you a nice stereo surround sound for the Hart's Band concert. So we'll wait. As soon as that curtain starts to open, then I'll stop talking real fast, and Connor can pull the plug on the microphone, and we'll bring you all of the action here tonight. Got all the tables set up, but tomorrow from 2 to 4, here comes Chris Feature. So we're going to stop talking. Here we go.
We're so glad to have such a nice crowd here tonight. You're so blessed to have such a special group with us tonight. This tells about the band inside your program. It tells about the history of the Hart's Band, and it tells you a little bit about the band that's recreating the Hart's Band in there. Also, on the back of your program, not only does it have major highlights of the events during this weekend for the Sesquicentennial, and I've been saying that for like 3 months, so now I can finally say it right. And it also has our upcoming Huber shows on it. So if you saw the parade, you saw our kids going through for magic, not magic, Candy Kingdom, and those are 6 to 12-year-olds. We've had them 3 days this week, we'll have them 3 days next week, and guess what? There's a show Friday Thursday night. So it's that quick. Yeah, we have them all day. So then we started with our teens, and they will be performing by Birdie, and we'll have them for 3 days, for 5 weeks. And they will perform, not a junior show, a whole Barbary show, of Birdie on July 19 and 20, and they do a fabulous job. I also would like to point out this program comes to you thanks to a grant from the Ohio Arts Council. So Joseph and I, the conductor and I, have put together the proposal, and it was approved by the Ohio Arts Council so that we could fund this program for you for free. So when you do a grant, then you have to have an evaluation. So inside your program, you have a little survey. So as many as you can, please fill out the survey. There's a basket out here, and we do have door prizes for folks that fill out the survey. So if you turn the survey in, I've got a gal sitting out there, and she's gonna let you choose from some really fun door prizes. I think that's mostly, there's also flyers. This trifle flyer, we've had it online and everywhere else, but if you want one in your pocket for the weekend, tells you everything that's going on, all the games, where everything is, what times everything starts, if there's a cost. Most of the things are free, but there's a few events that are big, you pay. And so that tells you all of that information. And this committee that you see listed on there, of about 15 people for the Sesquicentennial, have done a fabulous job. Each of us have had our own piece of the puzzle, and so car shows and food trucks and the night of lights and it goes on and on. So all the events are on there. I would encourage you to come back tomorrow. Our entertainment will be outside on the patio. We have a tent out there, which if you're like me and don't get in the sun very much, and don't like to sit in the sun, there'll be a shady spot that you can sit, tables and chairs out there. So we have all kinds of music coming up. Something from the early 1900s with barbershop, something from the mid 1900s with the jazz band, and something from the late 1900s with a rock band who played here in between. It was the Huber, and then it was a bar, and then it was Huber. They played here when it was over. So it's kind of nice to have them back. This particular program that they're performing tonight are songs that were performed by the Hart's band on this stage. So that's really special for us tonight, to actually have a performance that is being recorded in the same location as it was originally done. So I think that's all I have as far as announcements. So I want you to give a warm Huber welcome to our performers tonight.
Get the microphone on.
So with that, we will wrap up the performance tonight. Again, the recreation of Hart's Boys Band here at the Huber Opera House. At least I think that's the end of it. I don't think it's intermission. I think that was the entire program. So again, we didn't get one of the programs, so I'm going to, hey Hal, that was the end of the show, right? It's not an intermission. Okay, we want to make sure. And I've just been handed a program here. No, there will be another part. Okay, they've got several more songs that they're doing here. Thank you very much. So we'll stand by and talk for a little bit and get ready for the second part of the program. I may send Connor down to see if he can grab us a couple programs so we can sort of follow along. They should be downstairs, yeah, if you can. And I will kill some time here. I'm not sure how long the intermission is going to last. Usually they're 10 or 15 minutes. So again, well, thank you for joining us here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel on this Friday night. As we, again, this is day 2 of the 3-day Hicksville Sesquicentennial celebration. Got started last night with the kickoff dinner to benefit the Hicksville Historical Society over at the Handle Factory, which was a very nice evening. And things have been going on throughout the day today. The library, the Johnson Memorial Library, has kids' games out front and a book sale going on. That'll be going on again tomorrow in the morning as well. There have been free wagon rides, inflatables over at the Field of Faith. Just a lot of things happening in and around Hicksville. And if you do come down, again, there are a number of food trucks that are going to be set up throughout the village. In addition to that, of course, the restaurants that are here all the time in the village are all open as well. Many restaurants, specials, extra hours as well. Sidewalk sales and vendors set up on the streets as well. So just a lot of stuff happening and a lot of fun. Hope you got a chance to join us a little earlier. A little after 6 o'clock, they had the Sesquicentennial Parade, which stepped off from the Defiance County Fairgrounds at 6. Our live stream coverage began about 10 minutes after that because the parade route went up Main Street and then cut across behind us and then came back up and then came across in front of us on High Street, back down to Main Street and back down to the fairgrounds. And again, I can't thank Chris and everybody here at the Huber enough for giving us space. They let us out on the balcony, the second-story balcony, to get a good viewpoint. Not these ones, the program for Hart's Boys Band.
I thought these were it.
No, they're bigger ones. So anyhow, a great parade, too, that lasted about 35 minutes or so. The high school band was marching in the parade. The various vehicles from Hicksville Police and the Defiance County Sheriff's Office, the fire department, some of our other area fire departments participating as well, a lot of area businesses, and just a really great hometown parade that we had earlier this evening. That was a lot of fun to be able to watch and to cover for you here on HIX-TV. And then, of course, we moved inside here to the balcony area of the Huber for the Hart's Band performance. And again, the first part wrapped up. There is a second part that is going to be coming up shortly that we'll continue the live stream for. And we're looking forward to that. I would tell you what they're going to be playing, but again, sent Connor down. He grabbed the wrong program. He grabbed the program for the overall Sesquicentennial instead of for Hart's Boys Band. So I do want to say a big thank you, number one, to the Huber for allowing us to be here with the live stream of this concert this evening. Also, a huge thank you to the Ohio Arts Council. The Ohio Arts Council is part of the government of the state of Ohio that promotes arts and learning through the arts statewide. They have grants, and again, they have performers that they help to fund. It's a wonderful way, and their mission is to make sure that no matter where you are in the state of Ohio, you have access to live theater, live musical performances, other forms of artwork as well. They do a tremendous job and well worthy of support. And it's kind of nice because it's funded by Ohio tax dollars. So when we have a program such as this, or many times if you see performances done by Opera Lane performers here at Hicksville or some other places, you'll see that it's funded in part through the Ohio Arts Council. It's a great way to have some of our tax dollars come back to us in the form of, again, terrific art that we can appreciate, whether it's music, theater, visual arts, paintings, or photography, anything along those lines. So, again, a tip of the cap to the Ohio Arts Council and, of course, to all of the performers in the Hart's Band. Well, it's not the Hart's Band, but they are recreating a performance of the Hart's Band with the uniforms, and many of the instruments that they use are from the same era. And again, just a wonderful, wonderful job that they did. The first part of the concert was outstanding, and looking forward to the second half coming up. So I want to thank them as well for not only coming to Hicksville. They don't have any left. Okay. All right. That's all right. We'll sort of scrounge around after the show and see if we can find any left in seats or whatever afterwards. Or I'll talk with Chris, and we'll see if we can scrounge up one or two. But again, a huge thank you to all of them. And again, I don't know if you recognize them or not, but in the back, one of the tuba players is Zach Kohlmeyer, the band director from Hicksville Schools. He owns a vintage turn-of-the-century tuba, and so they they invited him to join them to play here this evening. So kind of cool to see Zach out here as well. And I've got some time here, too. So, again, another big thank you to the underwriters who make our coverage possible here this evening. They include, there are all four of our silver level underwriting supporters. They include, again, the Hicksville Bank, member FDIC, located right here in downtown Hicksville. They have other branches across Northwest Ohio, Northeast Indiana. And if you'd like to learn more about the many services they can provide, banking services for you and your family, hours of operation for the branches, and lots more, check them out online at www.thb.bank. Again, the Hicksville Bank, member FDIC, main branch located right here, downtown Hicksville, Ohio. Thanks also to Bruce Guilford Real Estate and Auctioneering, LLC of Hicksville, Ohio. Hey, if you have any questions about real estate, if you're interested in buying, selling, other questions as well, whether it be residential, agricultural, business, industrial, commercial, they can help you out. You can get the latest listings from Bruce Guilford as well as the latest auction schedule online at guilford-realestate.com. And remember, even if the primary listing agent is not Bruce Guilford, they can still show you any real estate property that you are interested in as well. So I want to thank them so much for their continued support. Also, a big thank you to the Hicksville Volunteer Firemen's Association. They're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that was established to enhance operations of the Hicksville Fire Department and give back to our community. The association conducts fundraisers to generate financial support, which is then used to purchase equipment, gear, tools, and also funds are used to provide training for the firefighters, ensuring that they are well prepared for any emergency situation. The association operates as a charitable entity aiming to improve public safety and support the fire department's mission through community involvement and donations, such as the breakfast that they hold, bingos, and the children's Christmas. And, of course, the firemen are having a breakfast tomorrow morning starting at 8:30 a.m. here at the fire hall. It's a free will offering from 8:30 till 10:30 a.m. So you can stop by and start off your day with breakfast with the firemen tomorrow morning. And we also want to say a big thank you to the Two Bandits Brewery located in downtown Hicksville, Ohio, a terrific restaurant with a great full menu, terrific specials including their $10 bite and a pint. They also have a great selection of of craft beers for those 21 and over. And if you'd like to find out more about the specials, upcoming events, you can either ask your server when you stop by, or you can check them out online at twobanditsbrewing.com. We're looking forward to tomorrow around noon. We're going to be doing a live stream from downtown Hicksville, and the car show and everything is underway, and we might have a neat surprise for you down by the Two Bandits. So let's have to tune in tomorrow and see about that. So again, a thank you to all of our silver level underwriting supporters for making it possible for us to be here with our live stream program here tonight. And I've already kind of mentioned that tomorrow is another full day of activity here in Hicksville for our Sesquicentennial celebration. It will get started with the Fireman's Breakfast starting at 8:30 a.m. Again, the Johnson Memorial Library will have kids' games out front and their book sale going on. In addition to that, I think the inflatables are going to still be out at the Field of Faith, and out at Fields of Faith there will also be the kickoff of Farmers Market for the season. So you can stop by and check out the fresh fruits, vegetables, and all that sort of stuff that they have there as well. The car show, which features not only cars but trucks, motorcycles, any kind of vehicle just about, gets underway at 10 o'clock. That'll run until 3 in the afternoon. Again, the West High Street in the downtown will be closed tomorrow throughout the day. So make sure that you plan your route accordingly, because you're not going to be able to come down the main drag in Hicksville tomorrow. Starting at 10 a.m., the Huber is going to be featuring a lot of live entertainment outside on their patio, beginning at 10 a.m. with selected songs and portions of Hicksville the Musical, the musical theater performance that was put on stage here at Huber many years ago. The actual author and songwriter came back and sort of picked out what he thought were the best parts, and they're performing, again, highlights from Hicksville the Musical from 10 until 11. Also on the patio from 11 until noon, there'll be a barbershop quartet that is performing. And then from after that, for a couple hours, there will be the New Millennium Jazz Orchestra, which does the big band jazz type music from the 30s, 40s, and so forth. After that, it'll be an encore presentation of Hicksville the Musical at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then starting a little bit later, Excalibur, the rock band that performed here back when the Huber was known as the Palace, is going to be performing for a few hours, and it's going to be a street dance, and they're going to have the street closed down, so people will be dancing in the streets. So, again, a great lineup of entertainment going on throughout the day on Saturday. Also here at the Huber tomorrow from 2 until 4, the Hicksville Rotary Club will be hosting bingo for a couple of hours, and I think that's $2 a card, and we're looking forward to that. I think I get to call bingo for an hour. I've never done that before, so I'm kind of looking forward to that as a member of the Rotary Club. That's going to be going on, and of course, everything kind of wraps up. If you head out to the park at dusk, they'll have the fireworks display going on, and of course, thanks to Nemco, they're going to be out there before the fireworks with free popcorn and stuff for the kids. So, again, you can come on out and, again, wrap up the Sesquicentennial celebration with a big fireworks show coming up Saturday night at the Hicksville Park. And speaking of the Hicksville Park, don't forget tonight at dusk, they're going to be playing glow-in-the-dark Frisbee golf for an hour or so. So that'll be kind of interesting as well. And I do want to make mention, too, again, that throughout the day tomorrow, there are all of our local merchants. If you're looking for food to eat, there's going to be, we've got Golden China, the Two Bandits, we mentioned already, Lupita's, Red Angel Pizza, Hometown Pizza, Casa Grande is going to be open, Magpies, Noble Romans, Hirschberger Foods, also the Palace Pizza, and the Amanda Lee Coffee Shop. And also food trucks that are going to be around the village. Tornado Potato, Lupita's Mexican Food Truck, El Nopal Mexican Food Truck. Pence's will be here tomorrow, the Showbiz and Doghouse, and also April Concessions. And there might even be a couple more that have been added on. I think I saw somebody here with shaved ice. And so, again, there's no way you're going to go hungry tomorrow. Let's just put it that way. Between all of the vendors and the food trucks and all of the regular restaurants open as well, no way you're going hungry in Hicksville on Saturday. I also want to make mention that if you do want to find out more, the very latest information, you can find it on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and then you hit the little the magnifying glass for search, and search Hicksville Sesquicentennial or Hicksville 150th Anniversary. That will take you to their Facebook page, or if you want to go to the HIX-TV, Hicksville Community Television page on Facebook. We've been sharing tons of the posts from the Sesquicentennial Committee, so you can just find one of their posts on our Facebook page and then just hit the little logo up in the corner of the post, and that'll take you there as well. That gives you the very latest information. If you're interested in getting one of the 150th anniversary shirts, those are available online. A lot of other different things that I think they've got travel mugs and baseball caps and so forth. You can also get the shirts and a lot of the Sesquicentennial swag at the Hicksville Pharmacy in downtown Hicksville as well. So you can stop by and check out their selection as well. So lots of stuff going on. And again, I know I can echo Mayor Barth in stating, this has just been a tremendous effort by so many people that have been helping out for this Sesquicentennial. Like I said, the sponsors, there's just about everybody in Hicksville that has been willing to help out. And the Sesquicentennial Committee, I'm going to read their names, so we've got a little time here. We want to say a big thank you to everybody on the Sesquicentennial Committee making this possible. That's Mike Barth. This is in alphabetical order, too, not in order of importance. Mike Barth. He's going to hit me for that. Mike Barth, Eric Bassett, Jody Bland, Bob Breidenbaugh, and Alice Breidenbaugh. Also thanks to Chris Victor from here at the Huber Opera House, to Mike Valena. He's overseeing the car show tomorrow. To Natalie Yoder, also to to Eric Bass and Penny Battershell, Greg Brown. Greg was in charge of the parade that we covered a little earlier. Diane Collins, who's been helping overseeing, get everything organized for the food trucks. Kathy Dull, Susan Mack, and Corey Wan, of course, our village administrator. Been hard at work, keeping everything straight. I want to thank a lot of the police and fire personnel, too. They've been moving around. They've been doing a lot. They've been blocking off the roads for the parade and then removing the barricades and keeping traffic flowing as much as they can. And, of course, doing double duty because in addition to that and being in the parade, of course, they're also still on call in case anybody needs any help. So I want to thank all of them for all the extra time and the hard work that they have put in to make the Sesquicentennial happen as well. And again, I want to thank all of you for joining us. We're really hoping and really wanted to make sure that we were able to live stream some of the big events of the Sesquicentennial, like the parade and this concert here tonight, and to sort of give you, we're going to be walking around downtown tomorrow for an hour or so to sort of give you an idea of the flavor of what's going to be happening in downtown Hicksville, hopefully get you to come on out. But we also know that there are many people who are Hicksvillians who no longer live here. There are people from Hicksville that are not able to be here, some in the service stationed overseas. Some have retired and they've moved to other areas and they're not able to come back. So we really wanted to be able to bring you these live streams here on our HIX-TV YouTube channel. So even if you couldn't be here in person, you can still be a part of this 150th anniversary celebration. And for those of you who are watching us from wherever, again, welcome, and we want to thank you so very much. And again, if you enjoy the programming we have here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to our channel. It doesn't cost anything. We don't have a members only. All our live streams are free and always have been, always will be, at least as long as I have any say in it. And again, when you subscribe, it not only doesn't cost you anything, but it does help us out with the search engines, the metrics and so forth, all that technical stuff. But most of all, you can hit that notification bell, and that way whenever we schedule a new live stream event, whether it is a community event like today's parade or this band concert here at the Huber, or any of our sports coverage with the Hicksville High School or Hicksville Junior High, anything along those lines, whenever we schedule a new live stream, if you are subscribed and you hit that notification button, you're the first to know whenever we've done that. And also, you are the first to know whenever we post new content to our video on demand library here on our YouTube channel as well. And again, if you are on the YouTube channel after you get done watching this, if you missed the parade, all you have to do is go to the button that says live and just tap on the live, and that'll drop down a menu of all of the live streams we've done recently, and you'll be able to watch any one at your leisure exactly the way that they were live streamed. And of course, we have our video on demand library, which features the edited versions of our programs as they are presented on our broadcast platforms, which is Mediacom Cable Channel 12 and SMTA Internet TV Channel 8. So they're flashing the lights, and they're going to get ready to get the second half of this concert underway shortly. And when they do open that curtain again, I'm going to stop talking, and we'll go back to the onboard microphones on the iPad Pro and bring you the second half of the Hart Band recreation. And so here we go. You're watching it live right here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel.
Hicksville Sesquicentennial here, and I want to acknowledge one of the members we have in the back of the band you might recognize. This gentleman is playing an instrument, 1925, that was playing the Hart's Girls Band. I want to have him take a bow, Mr. Zach Kohlmeyer. I think you might recognize it.
That'll wrap up tonight's concert live here at the Huber Opera House, featuring the recreation of the Hart's Band, Hart's Boys and Hart's Girls, and Hart's Boys and Girls combined bands, from back at the turn of the century, the early 1900s into the 90s. Thank you. As we're going to wrap up our live stream and call it a night tonight here on HIX-TV. Again, a reminder that we'll have another live stream coming your way tomorrow, starting at about 12 noon from downtown, highlighting some of the things going on with the car show and some of the other events that are going to be happening throughout Hicksville throughout the day on Saturday, the final day of our Sesquicentennial celebration. As we wrap it up, again, I want to say a huge thank you to all 4 of our silver level underwriters making our coverage possible tonight. They include the Hicksville Bank, member FDIC, online at www.thb.bank. Thanks to Bruce Guilford, Real Estate and Auctioneering Associates, LLC in downtown Hicksville, is also online at guilford-realestate.com. A big thank you to the Hicksville Volunteer Firemen's Association, the 5013C, dedicated to helping support Hicksville Fire and EMS. And, of course, the Two Bandits Brewery in downtown Hicksville, Ohio, online at twobanditsbrewing.com. Also, a big, huge thank you to the Huber Opera House for allowing us to be here not only on the balcony for earlier tonight for the parade, but here in the balcony for the program this evening. Thanks also to all the performers and for the Ohio Arts Council in making it a free show and also making it a public domain show that we are capable of live streaming for you this evening. And finally, thanks to all of you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed our live coverage earlier this evening and for this performance as well. So with that, going to wrap it up, and again, we'll call it a night tonight, but don't forget that we'll be joining you again tomorrow right here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel from the car show and all the other events of the Sesquicentennial happening downtown. But until then, have a great rest of your evening, everybody. And for Connor Myers, operating the iPad Pro camera and overseeing the live stream, I'm Bill Murphy with Hicksville Community Television, wishing all of you a very good night and, again, a happy 150th anniversary to the Village of Hicksville.